Hey guys, so I want to do a deeper analysis on temporal forces and actually all the Scarlet Violet booster boxes available. And so this will be a little more like actually like number crunching video. And what I do in this video is I kind of calculate the like kind of bargain value of each booster box at the moment based on the cards in the set. And this isn't a new concept. Other people did it before, but for some people they've never heard of it. But it is a way that like kind of does work some of the like a good amount of time to predict a set value. Um, because people can kind of see like, oh yeah, some sets don't look that good, and they're like, even if it's like cheaper, like it's honestly worth the price, and they're actually right some of the time. Um, like even if like right now a lot of the booster boxes, like okay, so I just took the TCG player market price, and by market price I mean like I just took the price that if you look at market price over here, not most recent sale, not recent list. I just took the literal number over here, market price, and I put it in for all the booster boxes for Scarlet. I know that there's some good specialty sets, 151 and Paladin Fates, but it's a little harder to compare. So booster boxes are a little easier to compare apples to apples to some extent. So I just put those down. So like you see, like except for Surging Sparks, like I know you can get deals and stuff, but like the price of like the most expensive one is Twilight, it's about 160, and then the least expensive one is about like 120. So it's a $4 difference. And so like you it begs, and then there's some in between, like this is like 150 versus 130. It's like $20. So you're like, hey, is it worth the $20 difference? And sometimes it is, yeah, because in the long term, um, like the set is better and it will perform better. But there are a lot of factors involved, and I want to talk about those. Like for example, like reprints, different timelines. Like some sets are more recently valued. Maybe like some cards are undervalued or overvalued. Um, Sometimes you just the eyeball test. You look at the cards. Do the cards look good? And you look at if there's like really popular high value chase cards, because that actually matters a lot. Like Twilight Masquerade, in particular, like a lot of the value of the set is held in the Greninja. Like a third of the set is just set value. That's $300 at like 900 is just a Greninja card. So that does affect the perception thing. Some people do like to chase, and I do kind of see that happening. Like if there's like one really good chase card, like people will go after. It helps if there's like a little more supporting. There's some depth, but yeah, there's this it's kind of like honest like a sports team. Like, do you have a star player or do you have like a bunch of like okay players, I guess, or more average players, and like which team does better? And it kind of depends on the time, but definitely a lot of the times the team that gets more attention is the one with the popular player. And sometimes like if it's a popularity contest, and Pokemon is kind of a popularity contest, they do better. So anyway, so what I did was I took the market price of each of these. I took this whole set value calculated by Pokedata, which I just went to each of these and I took the total value up here versus total value. And then like what people also like to do is that they like to just take the value like the top chase cards and just see like how that does as well. So like if let's say because if a set has a lot of cards in it, then its whole set value will go up, but maybe each card's only worth a few dollars. Then like maybe people don't really want to open that set. Um, Versus like if there's like if there's in the top 5 or top 10 cards that are high value, then you're more likely to want to open the set. Like some sets have both, but some of them only have more than the other. Like extreme example is Surging Sparks that has a lot of top chase cards, where like you see hundreds and hundreds of dollars, and just like hundreds of dollars in the first four and almost 100 in the fifth. That's not exactly normal all the time. Sometimes you take things for granted. Sometimes things are so good that like you just kind of like ignore it. Sometimes you do need to look at the data and be like, hey, this happened before. This is kind of why they compare to Searching Spark. I mean, to Evolving Skies, because Evolving Skies did have some of the effects where the price didn't never really dropped that low compared to other sets. I feel like, except maybe for a very short time period. But yeah, there's that. There's always that like, what if, what if, what if? Like, well, if there's a reprint, what if there's a whatever? Um, and so yeah, um, but yeah, so I took the total value each set, and like I can always see alright, like the lower value sets are like um Stellar Crown, City in Flames, and SV Base, and like most people would be able to intuitively tell you that like they're not as popular. SV Base not really known for having really good cards. Like $35 this Gardevoir, but the rest of these, like, no one's really saying, oh, I'm chasing the mirror. The like most people will just say maybe the Gardevoir, but most people aren't really talking about chasing in this set. And then I said Obsidian. Like, it's kind of weird. I felt like the price of the booster box is kind of high. Like it raised to like it's like 132, but the set value is so low. Like it's ridiculously low. It's only around $300. Even the next place is like 400. After that goes to like 700, 800. Like it's kind of a weird phenomenon. But it's one of those things where like you can't always like predict the market price based on the set value, but there are sometimes exceptions. But usually, I feel like in those sort of exception cases, like this happened for Rebel Clash and Sword and Shield Base, where their prices are high because supply was so low. Like in this case, I guess there's Charizard and there's some really nice original 151 Pokemon here, like Pidgeot, Pidgeotloom, Ninetales. These look nice. There's a bunch of Charizards. I think Christmas is coming up, so some people like bought a bunch for their kids because like they don't know the value, so they're like, ooh, Charizard. And the Stellar Crown, like people like I think Stellar Crown's doing pretty good right now, but everyone just knows it is a weaker set. With these Squirtle and Bulbasaur, it helps a lot because like the original Kanto and they complement the Charmander from a City in Flames, ETB. But like other than that, like you don't really hear like, oh, people are chasing these cards as much. Versus like if I just go through each of these, like where are the chases? Um, Magikarp's a big chase, and some people do talk about like the Tyranitar or the Raichu or the Meryl a little bit, but mainly it's the Magikarp. So there's like, oh, I really want to get this for that. Um, Paradox has an issue where it doesn't have a bunch of big chase cards, but yeah, there's the Groudon and Roaring Moon. Those are the big chase cards. Um, Temporal Forces, I'm not really familiar with these Pokemon as much, but I think it's one of these basically. Um, yeah, this is kind of not my generation to be honest. But they do like the Raging Bull, Iron Crown, Walking Away, Gauging Fire. Um, Child Masquerade has the really high Greninja, and then Stellar it has Serapagos, which it's kind of more for the newer generation. And then Surging Sparks has just a bunch of hitters: Pikachu, Latias, Melodic, Hydreigon, Lucia, Jasmine, Latios, Durant. This Ceruledge is nice. Skarmory's over there. Um, but yeah, so if you take the value, so what I basically did was I just took the ratio of like I call it a value ratio of like, okay, let's say total set value over the price, and you get a ratio of like 3.5, which is nice because then like it kind of tells you that like the cards are kind of worth something, and maybe like the booster box is kind of cheap. Like that's kind of what the value ratio is for. Um, and I did the same thing for top five. Okay, like what about the top five cards over the booster box price? So it looks really messy. It's hard to look at. But I'm gonna zoom out just a little bit. But yeah, I did put in this table and I sorted. So like when you look at these sort of tables, you do see kind of expected results. Like if I sort by like the value ratio, um, a lot of times you do see that the sets of the higher value ratio are the sets that are more expensive usually. So like Surging Sparks on top, Twilights, these are the most expensive, and then Paldea is like third tier. It's like fourth tier, which it's actually third in the set. And then there's like Temporal, and then, like Obsidian's down here, but the rest are kind of all similarly priced a little more. But yeah, the value ratio does approximately reflect booster box pricing because honestly, some people do this calculation themselves, um, and they just you kind of just tell like with a lot of things. I tell you, there's an eyeball test, look at the cards, and like sometimes like if you're good at predicting, which no one ever really knows, but you'll be able to like some cards they're not actually initial hits, but like you can kind of tell they're just undervalued, and you kind of get a sense of it over time. Like let's say I think this Eevee card was like valued less before, and when I saw that I was like, oh yeah, this is a really nice card. Eevee's really popular. There's all these Eevees. It's really cute. Like it should be valued more. And yeah, the card went up. Like Greninja went up. I think it's one of the rare times when like a chase card has just kept going up in price at release, especially for a set that people weren't really hyping up at much much at all. Like I think it didn't really. I think it started around 100 and just kept going up and up and up. Um, so yeah. So anyway, why do people do this? They do this to kind of find value. So like Surging Sparks, it's sort of like, hey, like yeah, we all know Surging Sparks is really good. So like even at the $200 price, if you were to ignore things like its release recently, like Surging Sparks would still be like a clear thing. Like this is like Evolving Skies territory, because this is probably what Evolving Skies looked like or worse or worse in the past. Like it's like, oh yeah, like it's a pretty expensive. So I don't know if I should buy, but the buy ratio is just like crazy. Um, like Fusion Strike probably had the same thing. That's why it's so expensive now. Like it kind of just takes time to catch up to the value ratio. But also, if the value ratios are wrong, then like your data is gonna be off, and that's where you have to think of things like, yeah, certain sparks was released recently. Usually, if it's released recently, and in like a bull market, then the price will be higher. So prices will some of them will probably or maybe go down. So it's kind of it's not complete apples to apples, and that's sort of like what you think about when you invest in anywhere. Like, okay, but I think that these things will hold value, and honestly, a lot of the Pokemon are pretty high valued. But sometimes you do have to know little details. Like maybe some cards are valued because people use it for the TCG game, but that's not going to be around all the time, so you can't account for that. Or maybe it's because like, there's not a lot of Surging Sparks right now, and when there's more supply, the singles be overflooded. Sometimes it's because like if you look at PSA pricing, because I didn't look at PSA pricing, but I know the Magikarp in Paldea, it's hard to grade as a 10, and that also makes it a bigger chase. So there's just things like that. But like, so I talked about Temporal in this video, and yeah, it was kind of strange because it seems to be one of the possibly one of the bargains actually. So they're searching Sparks, but it's a little more newer, so it's a little harder to tell. But for let's see, so what I did was I sorted by the ratio for just total value, and you get the list of like, okay, surging is kind of Twilight, but then there's Temporal. Temporal is above Paldea, but Paldea is like 150, and then Temporal is like 135. So in that sense, like, wait, I didn't. Oh, I actually sorted this by something else before. Um, oh yeah, Temporal is actually here, but yeah. So actually, so let me rephrase it. So okay, so where are some actually, there's a few weird things here. Okay, so if you look just based on value ratio, actually Paradox Rift is very undervalued. Um, because it's only $120, but the ratio is total set value because it's a very deep set. Paradox Rift is kind of some people call it like the chilling reign of um, Scarlet Violet. They think a lot of these cards are undervalued, and honestly, when I look at the eye test, like these do look like I think these are great cards. I don't know much about these as much, but like I know Garchomp's popular. I feel like the Archivy Bear, Steelix is nice, Evital, and like there's just a bunch of like nice looking like deep cards. Like if you look at the arts, like a lot of sets in the past, they have arts as good as that. Um, but I think I know why but the reason why Paradox isn't actually as high for some people is that when you sort by top value of just the top 5 and the top 10, you get different sorting. So I'll sort by that, and then Paradox goes back straight down. And at that point, you do see a more consistent pricing, I feel like. And this is where I see Temporal as like more of a buy, because like as you go down, like okay, so Searching is high value, okay, Twilight's high price, but then Temporal is like that. It's like it should probably be a little more expensive in that sense. And you have Stellar here. Stellar is even more value expensive than Paradox right now, but the value ratio is kind of off. So that's kind of like, is it a little overvalued right now? Not really sure. Um, and then Paradox has that really high one over here, but like over here, like the top 5 cards are not worth that much. So like in the top 5 cards, like they're not really big chases. Um, and there's Obsidian, there's SC base. So like if I just show you the list here, like Surgery remains at the top, and then Twilight is still remains in the top 4, but like sometimes it's a little overvalued. But with the Greninja, like that does hold a lot of weight. So like sometimes I would honestly trust the top 10 more. So this is the top 10 listing, and then Temporal, like in the top 5 and top 10, it's still very high valued, but it's still like lower price than Paldea. The thing about Temporal is that there's other things to talk to suggest that like it might be like a really good buy. Like I've heard people are like really optimistic about it. It's because like Temporal is kind of hard to find, and if it ever like if it does like this like just go further in speculation, but this is kind of more extreme. It's like if it never gets a reprint, because there's always a set that never gets a reprint, then like Temporal will just like kind of really like keep like rising in price. But yeah, like the strange about Temporal is that every other set you can kind of find, but Temporal is kind of hard to find. Like you don't see a lot of websites have it for sale, and so it's been kind of weird. They did like kind of a pretty small amount of it. Um, and next is Paldea. Everyone knows Paldea. And Stellar was kind of a surprising one, and the Paradox is next. But these are the more predictable. Like these are the weaker sets: Stellar, Paradox, Obsidian, and SV base. Like maybe one or two of them is a little higher. But as of now, like yeah, if I had to choose out of these top four and these top four, like which I would take this group of four any day. Like this is a very strong set. So like I guess like from this data, there's Temporal, which is undervalued possibly, and then Paradox, which is undervalued. Paradox has just had like a rough time getting back. Um, I feel like everyone has just seen it as undervalued because they always had those lows. Temporal had never really had those lows, so like it's just yeah. But yeah, let me know what you think. Hope you like this data driven analysis, and thanks. Bye.